Good morning, boys and girls. Today is Thursday. It is September 10th. And what I'd like to talk to you about today are two links that I have sent to you already through Google Classroom. And they're showing up here on your screen right here. The first, OpenStax.org, is a website that contains what I'm going to be using as our chemistry textbook. And then the second link, I'll show that to you in a little bit. So let's get to the OpenStax.org. All right. When we get to the main page, we could choose our chemistry text, although they have many, many others. If you go up here under subjects, you can see everything that they have. It's a heck of a website, frankly. A lot of information here. But under science, you'll see that we get, I don't know, maybe 15 or so different textbooks that we could choose from. Now for chemistry, there are two here. One is chemistry, and then chemistry atoms first. I'd like you to just click on the one that says chemistry. All right. Now over here in the left-hand margin, there are several different ways you could you can get to look at the book itself. And if you're on a full-size display, a PC or an Apple or a Chromebook, this table of contents view seems to work the best. At least I think so. You could play around with this, and I encourage you to. You can download an app for your phone. I haven't done that. I'm not sure how that shows up, but let's look at this table of contents right here. Over on the left-hand side, you see all of the different chapters and subsections of each chapter listed for you right here. And we, of course, are going to start in chapter 1, but let's take a look to see how this works. If we click here on Introduction on the left-hand side, over on the right-hand side, we get the introduction to chapter 1. And all of the different subsections. Right. Now what you see here on the right hand side is the contents of each section. So if I go to section 1.1, chemistry and context, you'll see over here on the left that it's highlighted, and we could scroll down through the entire section, and when we get to the end, we could go and click on next. And notice when we do that, we then switch over to the next section, 1.2, phases and classification of matter. And as we scroll down through that, all right, get through the entire section. And again, at the bottom of that section, we could click next and go on to the next. All right, see how that works? One interesting thing I was playing around with is, let's say you're reading through this and you find that this particular section right here is something important to you. You highlight it, and a little message comes up here for you to be able to highlight this material. So you just pick a color. Let's pick whatever this is, teal or blue, whatever. And we could add a note that's like, my first highlight, and hit save. All right. You'll notice now that this text here is remaining highlighted, and as long as you're logged in, you log into your account, it'll save these highlighted sections between computer uses. So once you highlight it, it'll stay highlighted as long as you're probably logged in with your account. Now up here in the top of the screen where it says My Highlights, here this program will accumulate your highlighted sections into essentially a set of notes for you. And I think that's pretty neat. All right. If you're not particularly interested in keeping that highlight, you just highlight it again and just hit delete. Or no, I'm sorry, you go over here and you hit delete. Right over here on the right hand side, delete, and that goes away. Alright. So, we will be starting next week reading through this book little by little. The first, I'm going to say 3 sections here are going to be relatively painless. When we get into section 1.4 with measurements, and then 1.5 and 1.6, we start screwing around with a little bit of arithmetic. Now, if you're good with numbers, great. It's going to be should be pretty painless. If you're a little mathematically challenged, you're going to have to maybe work at this a little bit. Anyway, if we continue down here to the very end of chapter 1, after section 1.6, mathematical treatment of measurement results, there's a section entitled Key Terms. And this just accumulates all of the important vocabulary for that section. All right. Under key terms or key equations, in this case these are just equations for converting between Celsius and Fahrenheit temperatures and Celsius and Kelvin temperatures. There's also a formula up here for computing density, all of which we run into in this chapter. Underneath the key equations is a summary where each section is just summarized. Makes sense. And then at the very end of chapter 1, under exercises, is a set of questions. And they are broken down into individual subsections. And in this particular chapter, there are 99 questions. No, more? No, just 99 questions. We go back to exercises. 99 questions. And now, just to show you, find it on your own, but if we scroll all the way down to the table of contents here, right, after chapter 21, get down to this, what are called the appendices of the book. All right, Appendix A is the periodic table. If you click on that, you get yourself a nice little reference sheet. It's the periodic table. All right. Underneath that, Appendix B, essential mathematics. I'm going to be pointing you to this again starting next week. A lot of mathematical review here. As you scroll through, you can see it. Units and conversion factors, etc. You could click through all this stuff. Some of this is going to be gibberish to you, so you could ignore a lot of this. Ionization constants of weak bases. If you stick with chem, maybe take AP Chem next year, you'd be getting into this kind of stuff. But what I really wanted to point out to you was down here, answer key at the very, very bottom. Chapter 1, answer key. Here are the answers to all of the questions that we just looked at the end of chapter 1. Except it doesn't list all 99 answers. It only lists half of them. And here you can see that if you follow the number progression, it's all the odd numbered problems in the chapter. So it's a way for you to check some of your own work when it's assigned to you. All right. I encourage you to spend a little bit of time today perusing through this. I will be assigning to you starting next week sections 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3, and some of the questions from the back of that chapter. So maybe you want to start reading through those. Okay. Now, something else I wanted to show you, it was the second link that I sent to you. And this is a link that was given to me, or I found on the OpenStax site. And well, let's just go there right now and take a look at it. All right. this is a website put up by Georgia Highlands College, and it's a course called Principles of Chemistry, and they have a course there labeled Chem 1211K, which utilizes the OpenStax textbook, and also presents to you other essential items that you could use to study chemistry. And I'll be pointing you to this from time to time. You're in chapter 1. See, again, it's set up in very much the same way. But here they have a link that takes you back to the OpenStax chemistry text. But there are also essential videos that are given to you also here. And as I assign these, I'll link them for you. But if you ever need to go back and do some review, I would bookmark this site on my browser so that you could go back to it when you need to. Especially when we get into the math part of chapter 1, this is going to be an important thing here. All right. And that's really all I have to say about this site. It's just a really, really great resource. All right. Okay, kids, here we have just my kitchen sink. One of the sides of the sink is filled with, I don't know, maybe an inch or two of water. Now I'm going to take some pepper, and I'm going to cover the surface of the water with some of this. If I could get it out. Okay, now I hope you can see that. It's just on the surface of the water, a whole bunch of that pepper that's just sort of laying on there. You can see that. Alright, just laying right on the surface. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and grab me a little bit of dish detergent in this case. All I want is one little drop of it. Let's see if I can do this without dropping my phone in the sink. I hope you all saw that. As soon as the detergent hit the top of the water, the little grains of pepper just all shot off to the sides of the sink. Could anybody explain to me what's going on here?